how I make my living. I'm here to take profit from the market. So, it's too much to try to change such a big system.
I think this will be very, very interesting for all of the listeners.
Sure. I was really lucky. I started out trading in the dark pools. I mean, that was literally my first day on the job. I was an assistant to one of the top traders at the largest prop firm in New York, Schoenfeld Securities. For those of you that live in New York, Long Island, or in the city, may have heard of it. I didn't know anything about trading, and they literally sat me in front of this computer called an Instinet machine. And it was my job to do all the trades on this machine. And this was dark pool liquidity, pretty much where all the big guys were loaded to buy and sell. So imagine if you could see where all the big guys, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, I mean, these are the guys that are controlling the market until now. Right? We're kind of taking it back right now. I love this. I love you guys because my whole life I've been trying to help, small retail traders, I don't want to say fight back because I've been following them. I don't have enough money to fight Goldman Sachs by myself. So I teach people how to say, hey, they're buying this stock, or hey, they're selling this stock. Let's just go behind them kind of like an ambulance chaser and just go with it, because people try to fight it. It's hard by yourself, but if you have a group of, I don't know, how many apes do you guys have?
From the last, on June 2nd, we know there's about 4.1 million individual owners. So of course, even 100,000 were hedge funds or banks, that still leaves 4 million apes in Ape Nation.
Well, social media allows us to fight back, which is great. It's like you can call up 4 million people, hey, buy AMC. That would take a really long time, but we can certainly, especially if they've been shorting and there's no shares left. And, the question is, what are they going to do now, right? What are they going to do now? I mean, how much can they lose? Are they in options? I don't know. Are they in option positions right now? Hedged? Did they hedge themselves? Do you know?
I would say, we've been seeing a really interesting amount of volume in deep in the money calls and deep in the money puts. And I think that could actually relate to, what market makers are doing with prime brokers and how they're trying to hedge this situation. It's something strange is going on, but it's hard because it's all theory. And you're one of the ones in the shop, that's when it's actually happening.
Right. I mean, this is the phenomenon, what we're experiencing. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in my time. I really have. And I'm just wow, and I was actually shocked that they didn't try to stop you from buying it this last time. Remember when it first happened and it started going up? It's you can only buy 100 shares. And I was what is that? Well, the game is rigged, okay? The market is rigged. It's manipulated. And I'm actually shocked they kind of allowed you to be on CNBC, Matt, because they won't let me on. I was all exposed, a lot. You were kind on the show with Melissa Lee. I saw that. And I'm actually shocked she didn't go deeper into it, but I do know that they have to stick to a narrative and they're only allowed to say specific things. And that's why I don't watch television. I don't even have one with my office. I haven't watched TV in years, okay? Because they need a sucker on the other side of the trade. And so they always push stuff so that us little people will oh, they said to buy this, let's buy it. Or they said to sell it. No, don't ever fall for that. I always tell my traders to follow the money. So what the dark pool really is, it's just an alternative exchange where these big guys, it's like their little playground. They can do whatever they want in there. They can, if it takes them 3 weeks to buy millions of shares of stock, we're not going to see one single share executed until the entire order is completed. So, yeah, they have a big, if they're buying big, selling big, they're going to get their price because we don't see it. Well, we can kind of see it. So I look into an ECN book where I can see kind of where they're loaded to buy and sell, but it's not really the same as seeing it when they're finished. But what they also can do, this is the illegal part right here. So I wrote a book called Darkpool Secrets. And when I was writing my book, I had a very big legal department. And they were everything I wrote I had to have proof of it, like show me the proof. And so there's one thing that was really difficult for me to come up with proof, and that was these late trades that they're executed yesterday, but they're not reported until today. And we're talking billions of dollars. Now in the dark pool, there's a rule. They have 3 hours. Once they're done, it's all done the trade that they have to report it. But these trades are 24 hours late, and they're literally billions of dollars. And this is how I've spotted every single market correction before it's happened. There's a specific pattern they do. And so I have pictures of it. I literally have pictures of these trades that did not appear today. They're in my book. My lawyer's like, well, I couldn't Google it. I couldn't find it on the internet. And like, should I call that guy that wrote that other dark pool book? And I'm like, no. I'm showing you pictures of the trades, okay? I don't care if it says it on Google. I mean, is there true stuff on Google? No, right? There's no, don't even pay attention to that stuff, right? Duck, duck, duck. So it's like, I showed him, and then he felt really stupid because he's like, oh, yeah, that's why we're writing the book, because I am exposing, this stuff. And really, I found out about this loophole from a floor trader from BMO, where if they do a trade on the London desk and they cross the trade with their New York desk, they don't have to report the trade for 24 hours. So it's a loophole. It does exist, but like nobody knows about it. And I'm seeing massive amounts. So they do it on the SPY, the Russell, and the Qs. But what I saw on AMC, which I sent you a picture of all the big dark pool trades, and we're talking, big amounts of money. That again, I'm not going to put $100 million into one trade. Again, I'm not that big, so I can't do that. But this is one big guy on one side and a lot of little people on the other. That's what these trades represent, because they don't have to again post them until they're done. And there has been, a lot of dark pool activity between $44.11. And $52.37. That was the biggest. That was a $125 million trade. And that was done on June 7th. So we're above that, right? We're above that where that trade was done. And really what that tells me is I'm always bullish above, bullish above. So as long as we stay, above 44.11, I've even, actually 42. Yeah, there's another trade. I'm just looking at that right now. 42, that was 79 million. So it's long, and I don't know, is this somebody big buying? Or is this them shorting more? Because I did look at the short volume on the days that these prints are trades that have already been executed. They're already done. So I did look at the short volume on those days, and it did increase a little bit higher. Not substantially, but it was higher. So again, there are things I don't know, but are they buying or are they shorting more? I mean, maybe do you know if they were shorting more on those days?
So I don't have those dates on the top of my head, but we've seen recently kind of like, I think from June 8th, June 10th, the short interest is going higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
And even today, I could actually check it out quickly. We see that there's 4.61 million borrowed against AMC from about 60% of prime brokers, with a net of just under 3 million. So something happened of like, we saw that giant run up at the start of June, and from there a portion of the shorts covered, but since like earlier to mid-June, the numbers are starting to track back upwards.
There was a couple of trades up there at $60 and $60.66. But that was only 80 million. So perhaps, yes, somebody took some profit up there. Or maybe they shorted more. I don't know. And then shorted. But the majority of the prints are below us. Right now, if you look at the chart technically, it's in a wedge. It's clearly in a wedge. And a wedge, but it's really like a bull flag pennant. And if we close strong, I've been waiting for this like for 2 weeks now. If we close strong above 60, it's going to be a breakout of this wedge, and then computers will just start buying. It just automatically, it's a breakout. That's where the shorts usually get squeezed. As a trader, like you guys, I'm always looking at, what's the line in the sand? Like, where are they going to feel pain? Where is that, right? Like if you were short right now, Matt, right? and you didn't cover, right? This is how you put yourself on the other side. What would be your level? Where would you be like, cry uncle, I'm out of here?
So every day I'm reviewing the charts, I look at that 60-62, that's been resistance, and like they get right above it and then they smack it down. But one of these days that we can close in that level right above it, that's the definition of a technical breakout, an easy run to the current high of 72. And if we break above that, there's they have unlimited risk. That's the entire point of a short, is you just don't know how high it's going to go. So I could see them really starting to run for the hills in the mid 60s, especially at 72.
Right. No, I see. We see. Here's the deal. We all see that, right? So it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy that everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to buy more at that point. I'm going to go ahead and, that's the point that I'm personally waiting for, to go, all right, this thing is ready to go. I'm getting in. I'll do options, but I'll get in with definitely a bigger position. But it's been really tight on this. But I have seen in the morning some sellers lined up around 62, 65. I'm just checking right now, and I look at an ECN book, and I mean they're and I post it on social media for everybody because I want everybody to see, this is a phenomenon. You never see people loaded to sell at 1,000. There's like 179,000 right now, just loaded to sell there. And you're like, okay, this guy's out playing golf maybe, and he goes, well, if that's the day that it takes off, I'm just gonna make, I want to just get executed. It's like, okay, I don't see big buyers in case it dumps. There are a couple of levels, but 55, 50. I saw that guy this morning. There is a small guy there. If it does pull back down, 55, 54 area. So there's some guys loaded there. At $1, there's actually a guy who thinks this thing is going to go to $1, and he's going to pick up a lot of shares. But you never know. He's there. But
so, a quick question. Sorry to interject. So, just to give it a little bit of, framework for this conversation, because there are some newer people listening. So, basically, high level, Darkpool, where it's a venue, and basically that means that it's going to be trading under the NBBO, the National Best Bid and Offer. So the price is going to be different on any dark pool, which we've been told there's roughly about 40 of them. How many dark pools are there?
Yeah, that's 40.
Okay,
Yeah,
so there's 40 major ones. So it's just another venue. The way we have the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, IEX, we have some non-ATSs, and we have these guys.
Right.
And the advantage of why people do or don't use them is the way we see the level 2 on the New York Stock Exchange, that's just hidden. You don't see the depth of the buyers, you don't see the depths of the sellers. We just see if there's a lot of volume being traded. So with this, if that's in practice more of the competitive advantage of not showing your hand. So but right here, we do kind of get some information when you're saying, hey, there's huge trades that went through at 44. So someone bought a lot and someone sold a lot. So when you're using that information, how does that tell you of how you should be trading? When you're okay, I saw huge action at 44, what does that tell you? How can we use that?
Yeah, it's really easy. I keep it really simple. So again, there's one big person on one side, and there's a lot of little people on the other. That's how it works. So again, I want to follow the big guys. So it's really, if we say that, bullish above, bearish below, no thinking. So as long as we stay above where most of the volume occurred, I know my position's safe. These big guys are below me buying. So I'm good as long as we stay above it. But if we go below it, then things, can get ugly if you're long. That's when I go short. But again, I wouldn't short this stock because I know this is a different situation. But in general, it's really that easy. When we do a trade though, there is a splash. It's kind of like you're throwing a big rock into a lake, and it's going to splash. And what they do is it splashes in the opposite direction of the true intended move. So if they're buying, they kind of splash it down a little bit, and then they move it up. Or if they're selling, they push it to kind of a new high, and then they move it down, kind of to fake people out. It's just that they've been doing this forever. And specialists are actually on the floor in the New York Stock Exchange. They get a phone call from Goldman Sachs. Hey, buddy, I want to buy 10 million shares of, AMC at $56, but I don't want to pay a penny more, And so the guy has to pretend that Goldman Sachs just sold it, wants to sell it. kind of whispers into the crowd. Guys go out, and then Goldman Sachs wants to sell, and then everybody starts selling, and the specialist is literally sitting in there and pretending he doesn't like it, buying. Oh sure, oh fine, I'll buy that, I'll buy it, all the way down to 55, and then he calls Goldman Sachs and goes, all right, I got your deal. Got you at 56, and so he just made $1, right? Because he got it to go down, and then it takes off like a rocket ship, and everybody else is left holding the bag or feeling stupid. That's really what the market does. How these big guys manipulate everybody. So we're computerized trading, but it's the same pattern. It's like, and sometimes I get faked out. Yeah, I do. I've been doing this a long time, but I get in a little early. I think they're buying. We should not think. And then we're good, and then all of a sudden we go below it, and I go, I can't go to sleep tonight if I am below the prints. It happened to me yesterday. I bought GDX. It was above and I waited literally 4 days for this trade. It finally went above dark pool activity. In the morning, I went in, I bought a call spread, and then by the end of the day, it was below it. And I run a live trading room, and if I don't stick to my principles, I'm dead. My traders see it. They didn't even call me out, but I said, guys, I got to get it. I lost 6 cents on my option trade. It's like not a big deal, but I kept my discipline. And that is the number one rule of trading is not every trade's going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, you got to get out. There's a point you have to have a stop loss and where you're going to bail. So with the dark pool, it's really easy for me because there's no thinking. It's like, oh, we're below where these, I would always say like the Armanis, I call them, where they were buying or thought they were buying, we're below it. So I got to get out. It may go above. I'm watching it today. And I told them today, if it closes strong above 35, I'll go in again. But if it doesn't, I'm not. And that's real professional, trading.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the process of how it would work of when there's either not reporting these trades or how there's a delay? Like, how does that work functionally?
Yeah, so here's the messed up part is they put the volume in the wrong candle. So for those of you that watch the volume on some days, if they're late, they're going to be put in the wrong, especially the late trades on the S&P 500, the Russell, the Qs. We're talking enormous volume in the wrong candle. It's really yesterday's, and it should be, they're putting it in today. They're messing up the VWAP. Anybody here trade with the VWAP, volume weighted average?
That's a common one we discuss.
Yeah, well, the VWAP is messed up because of that, because now the average price is different because they're putting that trade from yesterday into today's. But it's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, though, with the VWAP, is that wherever it is, you're going to buy or you're going to sell according to where it's at. So, but it's still messed up that they're putting it in the wrong kind. But it pisses me off, but that's just, the way it is. So, they do, again, it is hidden until they do have to show the trades. They have to eventually show their trades. Now, they've been really sneaky, sneaky lately. Like, we just got a print just before I came on LCTU. Now, if you guys punch that up, you probably never heard of LCTU. I just posted this out. I have a dark pool up. It was 2.1 million. Okay, 2 million. This thing trades. I don't even know how they got somebody to take the other side. $31,000 shares a day. That's it. Okay, on average, maybe 2,000. On this day, 6,000, 8. So why are they doing a 2 million shares? And this is called BlackRock U.S. Carbon Transition Readiness ETF. Okay, it kind of sounds a little crazy. But what's in it? Right? Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, these are the top holdings. Google, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Tesla, and NVIDIA. So they do things like this every day, and that's, they're going to move the market. This thing is going to move massively. And so you don't have to trade LCTU. You can trade Apple. I would definitely pick Apple. Apple has the best options and has a lot more volume, but I'm going to tell you today that it's probably going to splash a little bit, but watch in like a week or two, go ahead and look at that and see where it goes. It's going to have a big, enormous move. News is probably going to come out. Again, I find myself in a lot of trades that again, I don't watch TV. Nobody's calling me on the phone and telling me stuff. I'm in stuff. And then big events happen, like the oil drone in Saudi Arabia a couple of years ago. Massive prints on oil. It exploded up, and I had no idea, but I was in it. And then all of a sudden the drone, people know things before events happen. I've seen trades on terrorists, on fear ETNs before a huge terror attack. Quite a few times. Once is in my book. They didn't really want me to put that in there. Yeah, I mean, this is where the big guys are doing their trades, and they are controlling this market until we get into kind of control. And that's when you see the regulators, and all of a sudden, Janet Yellen, and they're all yelling. They're all over the little guys. It's so unfair, right? That again, it's a game. It's a game, and you have to know how to play it. You have to know how to play it, and you got to be smart. This is a performance career where you're performing every day, and that's tough. Performing, and that's why I say your discipline. Always map your trade out. Know your targets. I know you guys are holding for dear life. This is a different situation on AMC, but I'm talking about other trades. Where there's not a crazy short squeeze. Although I do love short squeezes. Those are the best. Those are clearly the best trades, especially when they break a trend. That's when the pain comes in. But, just normally, you got to have a plan. Make sure you have a plan. Don't just sit there with no plan, and the market's going to control you. Either you're going to control the market or it will control you. And again, 27 years, I've trained thousands of traders. I run a few different trading rooms. And I've been doing this a really long time, and I know the mistakes and we've all made them when we were new traders. So I try to help out as much as possible. It's like, avoid this mistake. Don't do that. You're going to make some, of course. I mean, that's how we do learn. But start small. I always say to pay per trade. I know people don't want to do that, but that's what I did. I know you don't want to hear that. But okay, then if you have money you can burn, go ahead. But until you find your strategy, you really need to see if you can do it. And then start small and work your way up. And if you do it correctly, you'll be here for 27 years like me. And if not, you won't be here. Because trust me, I have seen people come in and get blown out. Come in, get blown out. And then they get blown out, they go, you know what, I'm going to listen to you this time. I'm going to, do what you said. So I get it, but it is an amazing career. If you want to really do this, think of it as if you're going to college, and you're taking a year or two of courses, and then you're going to be, an assistant, go out, an apprentice, and start out that way. And then it can be a career, but, or else most people are gambling. But I don't know, how many of your viewers really, how many of you guys really want to do this for a career? It's the best job in the whole world. You cannot, it's the only job I know really, because it's been a long time, but you can do it anywhere. I travel all over the world. I trade any days you want to take a vacation. You don't have a boss. But I'm going to tell you, it's the hardest job in the whole world. It is. I work 7 days a week. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I work till all hours. I'm constantly doing what I need to do to be successful, so it's what you put in, you will get out.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. So I think I'm seeing some questions coming across over here of like your career, especially starting off with Darkpools. This is what the audience is very interested in, is like just tactically and systematically, like what are the things going on that you don't think the average person knows about? So you were just alluding to how sometimes people are taking positions that's front running some major event. And like right there, we were talking a little bit about like huge buyers of AMC at 44. So specifically to that, how did we know that the buyer was big and there's a lot of little sellers, but in more of a general sense? Like, what do you think the average person needs to know about Darkpools and the shenanigans going on there? Whether it's just like immoral but still legal, or just like legitimately straight up nefarious?
Yeah, so there's a lot of trades that happen in the dark pool. The key is understanding which ones are unusual. All right, that's when my antenna goes up. Like today, they don't think I'm looking. Who noticed that LCTU trade? Nobody. nobody's looking at that. But I have, I have a blog trade indicator that I use. But even if you have it, you're not going to know what's unusual, what's not, what do I pay attention to. And again, that's where experience comes in, because I look at it every day. When you look at something every day, you'll go, oh, let's say you only saw 50,000 share trades every day on AMC, and then all of a sudden you get 1 million shares and 2 million, and you go, okay, something's going on. That's really what happens every day. Just most people aren't even aware of the dark pool. When I started 2013, I opened up a stock Twitch account and a Twitter account, and I started posting dark pool activity, and people were like, what is that? And they were trading, and I'm going, what do you mean you're trading and you don't know what the dark pool is? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your strategy? I honestly can't trade without it. That's how important it is. And I started in the $1 million room. Nobody starts in the million. I was lucky. I literally went to happy hour and got a job offer. I mean, I didn't know anything. It's a long story, but that's a short one. Okay? Literally Monday, here I am at Schoenfeld, and I'm this guy's assistant trader, and they put me in front of a dark pool machine, and they're like, people are making millions of dollars around me, and I'm going, okay, what are you guys doing, right? I'll have what you're having, pretty much. So that's how I learned, and I just automatically assumed everybody trades like this. It's like, no, nobody does this. Nobody even knew about it. And, this is why I love to spread the word, because it's like, you guys need to follow these trades, but you have to understand how they operate. And so, that's my job. I teach my traders, what's unusual, and then how can we trade it. And I taught you today about the splash, right? It's really big, because people come in, they see it, they go, oh, I think they're buying, right away. And they get in that day, and they buy it, and then it goes up a little bit, and then it crashes, and they go, oh, you're entering too early. You really have to let it kind of marinate. And so, it's this, again, like I said, it's rigged, it's manipulated. I have seen, so in my book, I give a lot of examples, but like one was, I saw these really large trades on Wells Fargo quite a few years ago. And I'm like, oh, we never see this, something's going on. And so we shorted it because we let it splash a little bit, it went below the trade, and we went short. And all of a sudden, fraudulent bank accounts, on Wells Fargo. And, the stock went down. But it was like, did we get lucky? No, we didn't get lucky. Somebody knew that this news was going to come out. They always do. I see this every day. I mean, I see the trades, and then the news comes out. I see the trades, and then the news comes out. Before every Fed meeting, I saw the trades yesterday. We saw on SPY-V, a lot of like S&P 500 kind of things before the Fed, and then, we started to lift off. But it's, I could tell like a million stories, but there is always big prints. Before the shooting in Las Vegas, remember a couple of years ago? There were trades on all of the Caesars mostly. I remember Caesars because why? I thought they were buying. I got in. And then over the weekend, there was a shooting, and all the hotel stocks in Vegas were down. And it's like, did somebody know it was going to happen? Of course. Yeah. I mean, the tape never lies. Politicians lie, people lie, your family, I don't know, your friends. But the tape never, ever lies. And so when I start seeing really big trades that are unusual, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Now, the scariest was 3 months before the pandemic. So we're talking November, December, January, massive, you guys, massive trades. I have all pictures of all of them on all indexes, on airline, oil stocks, before people even knew what COVID was. I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. But I knew enough to put protection on and get out of long-term positions, because I've never seen the dark pool sell this heavy. Yeah, in my career. Okay, so it's like, what's going on? They literally sold, took it up, sold, totally. So you're like, okay, something big is going to happen. We can protect ourselves, and I hate making money on bad events, but it happens. We make money on good events, we make money on bad events. But again, the tape never lies. So even though they said that it came from a bat, came and infected and it, whatever by itself, I was the first to say absolutely not. Absolutely not. This was not a chance event. only, now I'm not a scientist, okay, but only because I read the tape. And I'm an expert, and I'm like, there is definitely somebody new way before, and that's, really, I've been just coming out and saying it, but I haven't really come out too much. I'll get blocked, right? On everything, they'll block my YouTube channel, they'll block my this channel, like how could now of course it's coming out, right? Now all of a sudden, gain of function, right? And yeah, no, it did. Now they have bats in Wuhan. I'm like, okay, so I don't care about it. Again, it's the tape. As a trader, we trade the tape, not what they say, not what they try to push you to do. I remember we saw these huge trades recently on LVS, and of course, the Nigerians, I happen to know them well. They're like I hate when they pump it up on TV, and I saw them selling, and it went down. But they're like buy, buy, buy. They need a sucker on the other side. And so you never want to listen to anything, that they tell you to do on television. You always want to watch the tape, hear the prints. If we're above it, it's bullish, okay? If we're below it, it's bearish. But keep in mind, again, you could get splashed. And also, they're not going to move it until they're completely done entering. And sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 2 months, 3 months. Like they did before COVID. It was a 3-month deal that they were selling, and it was just on everything. There were ETFs, different countries, crazy, but it's not going to move until they're done. They literally kind of freeze the market, and then all of a sudden when they're done, we either go down or we go up if they're buying. And it takes them longer to sell than to buy. And they usually do, they buy on the way down near the bottom. So we're going down, you see all of a sudden a really big level, and then they take it a little bit lower, one more big level, and then usually up. That's usually the pattern. At the top, it could be a series of weeks or some months. It's a little bit different, definitely faster on the bottom. So we lost 3 years of gains in the market in 3 weeks. That was really fast. It took them 3 months to sell, right? Then it took, which is interesting, 3 weeks. It went down and we lost 3 years, a lot of threes. A lot of, it took 3 weeks to lose 3 years of gains. And then it took 6 months to get back, which is interesting how the market works. So, if you know when a correction is going to happen, you're definitely going to, you can profit very nicely.
Yeah. Why? So it seems like one of your trading strategies is to look at these blocks and the action on a dark pool. Why is that of more utility than the big blocks we see on a lit market?
I'm sorry, can you ask that a little bit differently?
So you're seeing huge trades go through on a dark pool.
Right.
Why is that of more utility than huge trades going through on a lit market than New York Stock Exchange, the Nasdaq? Why do you think that data is more valuable?
Well, most big trades are done in the dark pool. You have to be an idiot, honestly, as a hedge fund, to do your trade in a regular market, because you're not, again, in the dark pool, they don't have to show us their hand until they're completed. Until it's totally in completion, then we see the trade. If it's not done in the dark pool, it gets piecemealed. So what happens in the regular market is it's just a lot of shares, retailers building up the volume, versus in the dark pool, it's one big spike of institutional, volume. And to me, that's more important. Seeing where, Goldman Sachs, he's controlling this market. He's got the biggest dark pool, and they do bad stuff in there, and they just get fined, and they pay a fine, and then they're off on their way, but I want to watch what Goldman Sachs is doing, because again, I have 27 years, and there's a signature share size they use. They send signals. I can't talk about that here, but there's a group of people controlling the market, letting each other know what they're doing. And I've cracked quite a few of their codes, and you need an edge. Okay, let's face it. You have to have an edge, because they're going to eat us alive. And so I've spent many years really honing and developing this edge. So, and again, there's certain things that they like to trade. And again, they're very sneaky sometimes. So I literally, I'm watching it right now. My left eye is literally on my indicator here, watching to see if anything unusual pops up. And that's what we want to pay attention. Because again, there's always trades, 500,000 of this, 500 of that, 500 of this, 600 of that, 300 of that. That doesn't mean anything. It's when there's something that's extraordinary that we need to pay attention to. And that's how we know. And it's a little experience.
So circling back a little bit, you were saying that like if I'm trying to buy 1 million shares of AMC, if I buy 900,000 on a dark pool, it's actually not reported until the order is fully complete.
Correct.
Like it doesn't show up as volume or anything.
No. Not until you're complete. Nope. No, sometimes I actually see them doing it. So I have 2 ECN books that I use. One is called the NASDAQ Book Viewer, which they took over Instanet. That is what I sat in front of when I started. And then I have a book called Arca Pelagio. And yesterday we actually saw them doing a trade on Apple. We saw it happening in real time because they kept refreshing the offer, refreshing it. We saw, okay, that's weird. But then all of a sudden, once it was done, and it was about 200,000 shares, it wasn't a big one, we actually saw the trade appear on our block trade indicator, which was really cool. But we literally saw them working it. So, but again, there are 40 different dark pools. I don't have all of them. But my block trade indicator gives me trades that no other software has. And I wrote a little bit about that in my book. It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans that go on, and it's just, people need to know that the market is rigged and manipulated, and that's okay. We're not going to change it. Unfortunately, I know we're trying to fight it every step of the way. It's most likely not going to happen, but you just have to go with it. Okay, what are they doing, and how can we profit off of it? But there are literally people that get really angry. I did a presentation once, and this guy in the second row, I was literally showing him the trades on the oil stocks, and then the drone strike, and look what happened. Like here, these were in. And the guy goes, no, I can't believe it. I just can't. I mean, he refused. He actually left. I can't believe that they would, do something like this, know about this and profit. His brain couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
But
But why do you think that we can't see new regulation? Like they just passed some new SEC rules and SEC rules. Like it does seem like, I guess especially with Gary Gensler now, it seems like some of these rules are getting pushed through that, like, to me, seems to be a more reasonable and healthy market. So I guess, like, why are you a bit pessimistic on, like, I guess, some new reform?
They do stuff because there's so much pressure. They have to make it look like they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's how it works. But there's so much they're never going to do about it, and because everybody pays, there's so much payment behind the scenes, well, let us do this, and it's hard. Again, yes, will there be some regulations here and a regulation there? They're going to find ways around. They're going to find loopholes. They're going to find things, and they're going to make their money no matter what. But see how you feel a little bit better now because they're making a regulation? So they're kind of calming down people. We're going to do this. I see things that are totally ridiculous, okay? And again, I'm okay with it because I know it's been this way forever, Could they change it one day? Maybe. They talk about the dark pool. Oh, we're going to get rid of the dark pool, or we're going to do this, and they haven't in all these years. They've been talking about it, but they are. The NASDAQ is the dark pool, right? They took over the Instanet machine. So you tell me why they're not going to punish themselves? No, they're going to make money off of it. They got smart. They said, well, maybe we should take them over. And Goldman Sachs was supposed to write their own dark pool, or have their own dark pool for the market, and then they ended up taking over their Sigma X or something. It's one large institution, our government, our economy, and they're always going to do everything to help themselves, unfortunately. It is the way it is. But that's okay. Like you guys, let's profit off this. Let's make money off the injustice, It's not fair that they're able to sell 1 billion or even 6 billion, right, on the S&P 500 and not tell us until the next day. And all of a sudden we start going down and people go, I don't know what happened. Yeah, I know what happened. I saw it all day long coming in. All these late trades, these late sell trades, and then the market crashing, and it's like, you don't think that they know. I mean, these big trades have to go through banks, have to go through, and yet nobody stops it.
So I guess with that, if you could wave a magic wand and fix 1, 2, 3 things, what would those be? Like the most like egregious offensive things to you, like what do you think if you could fix you would do?
Well, I mean, the trades on, 2016, I was sitting at my desk and I saw these massive trades on TDIX, and that's the fear. It's like the VIX. 10 million, 10 million, 10 million. We're not having a correction. That's when we would see something like that. And then the next day, I bought puts. I bought some SPY puts because I didn't know what was going on. Something was going on. Let me just buy a couple of those really cheap puts. And the next day, the biggest terrorist attack in Brussels happens. And you go, what? Like, I wanted to vomit. I literally sat on my desk going, I saw them. Like, could I have stopped? Could I have prevented that from happening? I didn't know what they were doing. So yeah, could they go back? And could they find out who did those trades? Yes, of course they could. It's all there. But do they have? No. And that's the part that makes me sick, is that this is deep, this goes really deep. And so I'm not going to call up the SEC and tell on them, okay? I'll be killed. It's like, or they'll put, they'll make me not look good. Like, what does she know? Like I'm crazy. And so we can't fight. I know we want to fight the system, but this system has been in charge for a really long time. Maybe one day it'll change. But this is our edge, though. Again, do I want it to change? Right? Once you figure out how they're manipulating and you're profiting off of it, right? Not the terrorist stuff. I don't want to profit off that. But I'm just talking when a correction is happening. Why do I want that to change? And I'm not going to know what the money's. They'll find another way, and then we'll have to take a long time to figure that out. Once they know we know their codes. So I wrote a book. And I put it in there, and my traders in my room did not want me to put it out. Don't do it. They're going to change things. And I'm like, how many people are going to read this book? A lot of people read it. And what happened? They changed. They changed the pattern as far as the share size that I talked about in the book. They cut them in half. They didn't think that we would be looking for them. And of course, we see it now. But they changed a little bit. So makes it harder for us, right, to make money, because we're like, well, okay, now what are they doing? Now we have to figure out their new thing that they're doing. So I'm not here to change the system. I'm not a politician. I'm a trader. I'm here to take profit. This is how I make my living. I'm here to take profit from the market. So it's too much to try to change such a big system. What would you change?
I mean, so in this group, we're talking a lot more about, I guess, it seems like there's various loopholes for naked shorting, the things that they do or don't hide in dark pools, suppressing supply and demand within dark pools, the different set of rules that retail wholesalers play by, the way they have segmented the entire retail public, and in a certain way kind of like damaged other legitimate markets. I think that's what this community is really arguing for.
Right.
Is I guess just more of like to kind of even out that playing field, because right now if you're retail, and especially if you have lower money, like if you're playing with a smaller account, like it's a pay to play system. That's the game we're in right now, and I think people just kind of like want their shot, like because we're pitched this idea of if it truly is a free market, well, let's play in a free game then, not necessarily where if you have political connections and the money, not only is the game easier, but like you have all the influence to continue to make it easy for you. So it just seems like the game isn't the most fair at this moment in time.
Life is not fair. We have no freedom of speech right now. Look at our election, right? There's audits happening right now. This is life, you guys. I know it sucks. I have 2 kids. My daughter's 23, and I try to talk to her and tell her about this stuff, and she can't. She just can't. She can't handle it. She can't handle it. Things are not perfect, aren't fair, aren't this, I've been around the block a few times, and I'm like, I get it. I mean, I understand. I see manipulation every day, so I guess everything else, it still gets me upset. I want the truth to come out. I think we all deserve to have a free, fair election. We deserve to have a fair market. But unfortunately, life isn't fair. It's not. It's rigged. Again, it's rigged. Is a casino fair? You go into a casino. Is the probability on your side? No. And if you know how to count cards, what do? They kick you out. Right? They kick you out. You're not allowed here because you're too good and you'll beat us. Right? And they're gonna kick you out. Well, the market, they can't kick you out, but they can do all these things to give themselves the edge. And I get it. You want to fight this. I'm so for it. I want to see justice, but unfortunately, until some major changes are made in the world, I mean, it's got to start from the government down. Then perhaps we'll have a fair market. Until that happens, it's just not. But that's okay. So you have to. If you want to be a trader, you have to accept it and then figure out a way to profit off of it, in my mind. If not, then do something else. But this is the way the market is. I mean, again, 20s, I laugh because I have to laugh. Honestly, I'll cry. Like, I see things every day where I'm like, I can't believe they're doing this. And then, news comes out. I can't believe, look at those trades. And it is what it is, and it is rigged. I mean, that dark pool is a way for these guys to hide their orders. And, it's more, they say 40% of all the trades are being done in there, and I will say it's so much higher, and it's getting higher and higher. The market is also getting less liquid, it's getting thinner, if you guys have noticed that, but every level, there's less shares. There's no market makers anymore. Nobody is here to make a market. This is what you should be talking about. Now, a lot of you probably never knew that there were market makers back in the day, like Goldman Sachs, Prudential, Smith Barney, Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley. They actually had to be on the bid or the offer, creating a market, buying shares at every level and selling shares at every level. That does not exist anymore. Nobody is responsible. So that's why we have flash crashes. That's why we just shoot down on nothing but air, and so that is the scary part. That is definitely why pretty careful about what I trade and how I trade it, never putting, too much into one position as well. But that's not fair. Right? And so they just shut off their algos. We're trading against computers. That's really what it is. And they'll just shut it off when something's happening. So they're not going to buy it. And then it's just going to go to wherever somebody big. Like, remember the night that Trump won the election and the market, the futures crashed down overnight. Well, guess what? It's not like it crashed. There was a big seller at the top. There was nothing in the middle. Nothing but air. So literally just fell to where Icon wanted to buy it, and he just swooped in. He has a lot of money, bought it, and up we went. And it was like, is that fair that it didn't even hit any level? I was like, it didn't even. He just got to buy it because everything was turned off, and it just fell right into his hands, pretty much. He was like, I'll take it. So these things happen. There are circuit breakers that they, all of a sudden turn on for 15 minutes or so, but. That's for them, by the way. Yeah, that's for the big guys. They created that so that nothing would catch them too off guard. So if there's something came out, or you guys came out and did something and moved the stock up a specific amount, the circuit breakers would come on to stop it so they could take a position and, kind of slow down the momentum. It's for them. They say, oh, it's for us. No, we're going to protect you. No, you're going to protect yourself. So... yeah, I'm here to speak the truth today, and I work for myself. I don't work for any of these guys. Won't even hire me. They won't even put me on CNBC. So I wrote this book, Darkpools Secrets. Some of you may have seen it. So my marketing company, they work with the Nigerians. Their book is on there. They work with Charles Payne. Their book is on there. So they go to do my commercial and present it to CNBC, and CNBC goes, we're not crazy about the content. Okay, they don't like it because, the people that sponsor them are not gonna like that I say the market's rigged and manipulated, right? So they're like, listen, we won't play it nationally, but we'll put it on, in different cities at different times. They refused to put it national. Fox Business didn't care. They're cool. They played it. They were okay about it. But no, CNBC was, and it got to the fact where my marketing team is like, well, maybe you should change the title of your book. Then oh, I'm not changing the title. Maybe let's redo. We actually redid the commercial. Okay, we redid the commercial because we thought, well, maybe it'll get accepted, and it was so boring because who wants a boring commercial, right? Like it was awful. It's like, oh, I couldn't say this, I couldn't say that, I couldn't say this, I couldn't say that, and it was just not naturally where I'm going to just speak the truth. And so, yeah, I just said, I don't care. I don't need to be on, I really don't need to be on TV, honestly. I just need to be out here and spreading the truth. That's my mission in life right now. I was really lucky to be where I was at that. I was 24 and I was on my own supporting myself. And I feel so blessed that I landed where I did and learned about the dark pool. And that's why I do what I do these days, is to share and help as many people as I can, because I do know a lot of people are just out there, not understanding. The market moves. Price levels, I use pivots, moving averages, and the dark pool. I use a combination of things where I can see where these computers are buying and selling it. And once you learn that, then this becomes a career. You're not just guessing, you're not hoping, you're not praying, you're literally trading on levels, along with the computers. And, it's awesome. There's nothing better. Like today, I put out a whisper, is what I call them, on AMC. Hold on, let me just see. So I was bullish above 59.50. We never went above that. And I was bearish below 55.50. And again, this is a day trade. I'm not telling people to short this. It's just a day trade. And we went to 55.66. We didn't go below that level. So there was a no trade on it. But if you look at the chart, it's in the no trade zone. We're literally in that apex of that, that triangle. Like, it's not a trade yet. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, again, or maybe even later today. I don't know. The volume is really light today.
Very light.
Yeah.
I guess before we let you go, we really appreciate your time, but could you reiterate some of those major levels you've noticed for AMC, just so we have those price levels moving forward?
Sure, absolutely. So I have 42, 1.8 million, that was a big one. That's 79 million. So think about it, 79 million in one trade, one institution. So you have to look at it that way. At 42, 44 was another level, 44.11 and 11 cents a million. Then we had one at 48, smaller one, 800,000. We had one at 52.37 is the biggest though. That's why I'm really eyeing that level. 52.37 was 125 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically a lot of AMC in the low 50s.
At that level, at that level, right off the bat, June 7th. So if you look at, and they brought it down, looks like did they bring it down to buy more? Yeah, at 44.11. So that's what happened. So they bought, like I told you, sometimes they're not going to move it until they're done. And maybe they're doing another trade right now. That's why we've been consolidating. That happens a lot when they're trying to do a trade. They keep it around the same level. But then they brought it down to 44.11 3 days later to buy more. And then it went up. So that's, I mean, it's been an awesome trade. I have a lot of traders in my room that are day traders. I'm mostly a swing trader. But a lot of my traders will day trade this literally every day trading it, because it's great. Trades really well on levels. And we love it, as long as it's got volume and stuff like that. But we have a lot of traders that are also long, in it for the long term. We see what you guys see, and obviously we all want, we're on the same team. We want to squeeze, we want to squeeze those guys. The pain, because look, that's what we do every day. It's like, that's against them, right? It is. Can we work together? No, because they need a sucker on the other side of the trade. So we can't work together. And I know you want a fair market, but how are they going to make money if it's fair? So that's really the whole gist of it.
Gotcha. All right. Before we let you go, do you want to shout out your socials and the way people can connect with you?
No. I was like promoting. No, I didn't come on here to really like promote myself. I came here to really share these tips with you guys so you understand how the market works. But yeah, you can follow me on. There's a lot of imposters. Okay, lots of imposters on Twitter. So if they only have like 44 followers, it's not me. Okay, it's not me. I mean, my picture's there. It's just awful. There's nothing you can do about it. Twitter doesn't care. But I am Stefanie Kammerman, volume print, PRINT, CESS, the Stock Whisperer, a couple nicknames on there. You'll see me on there. I don't know how many followers I have on Twitter, 17,000, something like that. So you'll see, not as much as you. You have a lot of followers. How'd you get so popular? Were you this popular in high school?
No, definitely not.
No, me neither. I was definitely not this popular in high school. I was like, so I am on StockTwits. I have like 55,000 on StockTwits. Yeah, I got really popular there. I don't know how that happened, but you know, I've been there for a while. You can go to the darkpools.com, thedarkpools.com. That's my main website, and you'll see all the services. I have a dark pool app. I have a beginner trading room, which we teach you everything in there. I have an advanced trading room where I trade live every day. I have a crypto room. I have a swing service. I mean, I have a book. I mean, there's lots of ways, because over the years, people just ask me, you know, it would be so great if you could do this. It would be so great if you could do that. Could you do this? Could you do that? And I was like, okay, I could do everything. All right, fine. You know, it's like, so where there's demand, you know, I try to fill it in, because different price points. I know some of you are just starting out. You don't have a lot of money. So we do have different things that you can learn. And of course, you know, YouTube, I have so many videos on my YouTube channel. You'll learn so much just by watching that, and you know, and that's free content.